5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you for being here. We appreciate your presence today. Mr. Sisk, how many employees run the GSA Surplus Firearms Donation Program?
It's currently 1 employee, sir.
I beg your pardon?
Currently 1 employee, sir.
We have an agency in the federal government and just 1 person that runs that program?
For this particular program, yes, sir.
Wow.
It's part of a larger program, but we have,
I understand.
Yes, sir.
I understand. Mr. Choa, it's my understanding that that the program records are kept in a paper file system. In fact, this system has been referred to as the backbone of the program. Is that correct? Is it kept in a paper file?
The program administrator seeks to track all of the firearms through paper records, yes. That's correct.
How would you describe the accessibility of this paper filing system?
It's not particularly accessible, as you can imagine. She keeps boxes of records. She told us that in order to trace one particular firearm, it could take days. When we tried to compare her records to the spreadsheet she was keeping to try to centralize in paper the whereabouts of the weapons, we found a lot of inconsistencies. She also inherited some paper records from her predecessor, so it's not a very accessible system. Wow.
In fact, in June of 2015, the IG's office reported, or the report by the IG indicated that during their evaluation, they were unable to access critical information. And this prevented the IG from completing all of the evaluation objectives that they had set forth. So obviously, we've got some problems there. Mr. Sisk, how many firearms has the program lost in the past 15 years?
Since the program's inception, our records indicate that 488 total have been reported missing.
488?
Yes, sir.
Have been missing. How many have been recovered?
I don't know that any of them specifically have been recovered. We do have a breakdown of how many were sold and traded. 30 of them, actually, 320 were either sold and traded. 30 were actually found after they were initially reported missing. 29 were either lost or stolen. 6 were destroyed, and 1, the police department actually had closed at one point. So,
seriously?
Yes, sir.
488?
Yes,
and you said 30 had been accounted for, and 29 had been lost, and 6 had been destroyed?
The primary principal part of that, 320 were sold and or traded improperly in violation of the conditional terms.
So how many are unaccounted for? How many total are unaccounted for?
We have so far 102 that we don't have information on, what actually eventually happened to them, that they were reported missing or stolen, and there was not a resolution to that.
Okay, well, let me ask you something. How many does the Surplus Firearm Donation Program currently have?
Well, they're the 9,836 that are currently in the program.
9,000 and some odd? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
How many of these have been distributed to law enforcement agencies?
They all have been, sir. We never actually have them in our custody.
Okay. But I mean, they're in the custody right now of the law enforcement agencies?
Yes, sir. State and local law enforcement agency.
So all you have is the record keeping, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, Mr. Chairman, this is my problem here. This is my concern. I mean, here we have a federal agency, a program that's totally dedicated to registering and controlling firearms. Yet they don't even know how many they have. They don't know where they are. They don't know who has them. They don't, in some cases, they don't know what they are. And yet we have an administration that's trying to impede on our Second Amendment rights. No, it is true. It is true. I mean, here we have an agency that can't even account for it. Every responsible firearm owner knows where their guns are. They know what they have. They know where they are. And yet we have the government here who has no idea. This is appalling, Mr. Chairman. Appalling. I mean, seriously. I just cannot believe this is happening. And listen, I'm from the South, and let me tell you, we take our firearms seriously in the South. I mean, I can tell you right now how many I got. I can tell you where they're at, and I can tell you exactly where they're at. And I know where they're at. This is, Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but I'm appalled at this. I'm just taken aback by this. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield. I'm sorry.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia's appalling demeanor, and so we'll